Okay, so this is Tuesday, our very last Tuesday, and we're going to talk about deployment, and also we're going to talk about kind of some AI stuff. And I want to talk about, yesterday I talked about adding things, adding little bitty features. Remember that? Just adding things to AI. Oh, um I may not have, I forgot to post the video. I'll post that. Just adding things to our project. So, for example, last time, yeah, last time I just added, what we did was, that was the cards, right? I just told it to add cards. Thumbs up if you remember that. I just told it to add, I was doing some signing up stuff, and it added some CSS for me. And I was pretty specific about what I wanted. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do though is after we deploy is I want to talk about what's called a one shot, where it builds the whole app for you, which is kind of scary, but also pretty amazing. And for that, I'm going to use a service called Replit. So before I do that, let's talk about deploying. So deploying, I have my front end, I have my back end, and I have my microservice. Each of these is a separate deployment. It's a separate project. So any questions about that? Get this closed. Very cozy. So you can see it's a separate project because I have to, oh, I'm already started. In the, so in order to run, I think this was the front end. I forgot. I believe that was the front end. So in order to run the front end, I have to CD into front end and then I have to do npm install, right? Basically, I've already done that. But then I have to do npm run dev. Npm run build is the one that we're going to be doing, but it's npm run dev for us now. So that runs that. Okay. And I have everything running. Yeah, these are the cards that that the AI helped us build. Pretty nice. All right. So the next thing I have to do is I want to do the back end. Come on. And the back end, well, I have to do CD into the back end, and then I have to do npm install and npm run dev. Or run start, really. Here's our pop quiz. What's the difference? What should be the difference between npm and run dev and npm run start? What's going to be the difference on the back end? Let me look at the start is no, they're both automated. You define them here, okay? And we defined it to be no daemon for dev. Yeah, and node for start. So you have to keep refreshing. You have to kill. So if you do node index.js, and then you make a change, you have to kill the server and start it over. Remember how that annoyed us? So, okay. But if you're running it on the server, you're gonna run this code. Okay. You're not going to run the dev code because um, you're not going to be changing any code on the server. So when you deploy, you're going to be running npm run start. I'm not on the server, so I'll do npm run dev. All right. And then my third one is, yeah, so my third one is the microservice, and you can see I'm in the microservice. So I have to do cd into microservice and then npm run start, but I'm on the client, so I'm on dev, so I'll just do npm run dev. Okay, so I have three things here, three separate projects. So let's deploy them. Okay. Let's actually let's do a CalDraw real quick. Yeah, so you have three things here. One, two, and three. So what we do, we're gonna have front end. Mm, we have front end. We're gonna have back end, and we're gonna have microservice. And what's going to happen is the front end is going to point to the back end, and the back end is going to point to the microservice, like that. And then, of course, Supabase. Supabase is great because it's really a back end by itself. You can use this instead of a back end, but we're using this other architecture. If you want to customize things a little bit, you can use this other architecture here. But like in level 3, we just had a perfectly good app just using Supabase. So the front end is going to communicate with Supabase, and the back end is going to communicate with Supabase, right? So thumbs up if that all makes sense. And we'll get into what environment variables we need. .env. So we'll talk about this later. Second here. So I have to deploy this. I have to deploy this, and I have to deploy this. I have to deploy all three things. So let's deploy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy the front end using Netlify or Netify. I was called the wrong thing. I'm going to to the back end using render, and over here using render. Render is free, but you may have to supply a card, but you don't have to pay for it, but you have to supply a card. I think you have to supply a payment method. There's a couple other free services. What was that? Um, Another service you could use um, deploy services is render.com. Another one is Heroku.com. And you can actually have Heroku for free for 2 years with the GitHub Action Pack or GitHub, what is it called? Student Developer Pack. Um, so this is actually a pretty good deal too. And we'll see why the free version of render sometimes falls short. You could also use AWS. Okay. Um, and front end only will be Netify. Okay, any questions about that? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do Netify first, and then we'll do the back end, and then we'll do the front end. Oh, so then we'll do the microservice. So front end, back end, microservice. So here's the start. Here we're going to deploy to Netify. Log in to Netify. I think Netify is free to log in. I don't think it requires a credit card. And I already have Potluck Heaven here. So I'm gonna delete this one and start over. I'm gonna delete this project. I'm gonna do the Potluck. Okay, so I'm gonna add new project, and this should be familiar to all of you. Import an existing project from GitHub. Okay, I'm authorized, and it's gonna be full stack demo, I think. Um, and I'm going to call it Potluck Heaven, right? And it's going to deploy to Potluck Heaven here, .netify.app. Okay, this is where things change. Remember last time when we deployed, all this stuff was filled in for us? Remember that? Thumbs up if you remember that. This was filled in for us. We didn't have to change anything. Well, this time we do have to change things because it can't detect which one it is. Remember, our code has 3 projects in one, and it can't auto detect anymore. Thumbs up if that makes sense. So I want to deploy the front end. So my, whatever you call it, did you, oops, here we go. Okay, did you all call it front end? If you did, that's fine. That's good. Whatever you called it, you got to put that folder in here. That's the base directory, okay? All right. So publish directory is front end dist, all right? Remember? So if I go to front end, I'm in front end. I don't know if you gotta remember this dist stuff. So here I'm in front end. What I have to do is, um, in order to get the node modules, I need to run npm install. And then I have to run npm run build. What is npm run build? You can check it out. npm run build here. There is no start for a Vite here. There's just dev and build. So here's our pop quiz. Do you remember which directory build creates? npm run build, use that. Yeah, it may be, so Sally, it may be that your node modules are um maybe your node modules, you're including your node modules, something like that. So yeah, you probably messed up one of the configurations because the 5,000 files are probably something in your node modules. You want to be sure to um, this folder is the one that's deploying. Um, you may have your node modules deployed on here's a little a thing that you gotta be watching out for. Um, full stack demo. Make sure that your node modules are not here in Git. You shouldn't have your node modules in here. You see my node modules is not in here. So what you want to have is you want to have that git ignore file. Make sure you have node modules in your git ignore. So check that, see if that's the problem. Okay. So build command. And here's another pop quiz. What is the build command? Here's a little tricky thing. There were two build commands. Do you remember? Anybody remember the build commands that I just typed? The npm something? Try to type them out here. Yeah, one is npm run build, and there was another one. Npm install. And a thing about bash, the bash shell and the terminal, is you can run two commands at the same time with that semicolon. So if I wanted to do both, npm install semicolon npm run build, it would do both of them. Okay. So it just does them in order. All right. I think you can do it with and as well. Or and, maybe one and something. Well, it's just a semicolon. So that's what it should look like this. So if you want to screenshot this, this is what it should look like. Okay. Important things, change the base directory, install, then run build, and then the published directory is dist, distribution. We can ignore. This is just their advertising that they have. Um, these are functions. These are pretty cool if you want to explore. This is sort of a Supabase light thing. It's a way to um, have a backend without actually building a backend yourself. These are functions that run on the server. Okay, so add environment variables. I need to add my environment variables. So um, I'm going to have two environment variables first. So those two environment variables are Vite Supabase URL and Vite. This is the new way. Vite Supabase publishable default key. That's the new one. The other one, I forget. Go ahead, type in the chat if you have something different than this. I don't remember what it is. But this is the new way to do it. The both ways work. A non-key, yeah, a non-key. So this is the new way, and the anon key is the old way. So they just switched. During our class, actually, they switched over. In fact, if you want to see it, you can probably go into I think it's here. Connect to your project. I guess it might be connect. No, the anon still works. I've lost where it is now. It could be in connect. So nowadays, if you go into a project, you're gonna what are we doing? Oh, app framework, sorry. And it's React and Vite. Yeah. So now if you go there, it won't show the anon key, it shows this. So they want you to switch over. So eventually they'll probably remove the anon key, but it may be a couple years from now. And it tells you want to learn about it, you can read that. So yeah, things always change. But I noticed that the this code is quite a bit better now. The example code is much better than it was. In level 3, when I was showing you, there was something wrong that I remember I had to say you have to change something, but now this works perfectly fine. And it has a really good one. Probably the if you want to do the connection string for Node.js. Oops, oh that's not it. Please. Yeah. I thought there was okay. Uh, never mind about that. All right. So we're deploying. Yeah, so you can just keep the old one. Okay, so that's all I have to do. There's one more thing I have to do, which will be um, back backend URL, but I don't have the backend URL yet, so I'm not going to put that in yet. I'm going to come back later. I'm going to deploy Potluck Heaven. Okay, so deploy in progress, and you can see it deploying. So while I'm waiting, any questions about this so far? Um, oh wow, look, they have databases now. Oh no, it failed. Let's see, why did it fail? The building failed. Okay, so yeah, so great. We have an opportunity to see what is wrong. Why did it fail? I think this is an AI thing here that teaches you. So let's just do it the old-fashioned way. So the build command failed. Okay, so this failed. Look at that. Okay. Hmm. So what we see is um, this is the error. Build script return non-zero exit code. Now, sometimes you'll get something like this because the linting is a lot more strict on deployment than on development, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So you can look at npm run build. Let's see. Well, I don't have any errors. Mm-mm. Let's see. That's weird because it was working the other day, and now it's not. I may just try it again, but let me click on why did it fail. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, if anybody sees what's going on, please let me know. And it's going to try to help me here. Okay. Which is not how you. Oh, haha. Dum, dum, dum. Okay. You can help me out here. Can you help me out? Thank you, Ty. Yeah. What was I missing? I was missing a run in here. There you go. I was a little blind. You get code blind here, right? So, great. Okay. So let's see. And the AI got it for me as well. So deploy settings. If I want to fix it, I can do deploy settings. And I'll just try to figure out where. Oh, here. Yeah, so this is the build settings. So there's a couple of different steps. One is the build, and the build step is when it builds that when it converts things from JSX into JavaScript. So let's configure that, and we just add a run in there. So yeah, I told you to screenshot, so I'll probably do it again. You might want to screenshot this because it's the run. So careful, you'll make the same mistake as I did. npm run build. So be sure to screenshot that. Okay, so let's save that. Not deployed yet. Okay, so I need to deploy, figure out where to do it. Hmm, maybe deploys, there's got to be a way to redeploy. Oh, here, so I can, under deploys, I can trigger a deploy. I can just say deploy one more time. And you can deploy project or deploy without cache. I'm going to deploy without cache because there was an error last time. So that'll deploy without cache is probably slower, but I just want to do the whole thing from scratch. Okay, let's give this a try. And for our entertainment, we can watch it go. Okay. And we gotta wait. And here, okay, complete. Building is complete. Oh, deploy is complete. Look at that. You love to see those check marks. You wasted 26 seconds of our life waiting for that build. Okay, so let's just look at it. And here it is, right? So I should be able to sign, I can sign in. And it should work. And it works because, why does it work? It works, that part works because Supabase works. So that's just the Supabase part. I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna go here. Now I did a pull request before. 4 days ago, I did some work on it and I did it on a branch and I did a pull request. And I added the backend in. It was events. Thumbs up if you remember that. Remember I added events in here? And this was, okay. So I did a pull request. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept that pull request. I'm going to go merge pull requests. Connect front end looks good. Confirm merge. Okay, so that's in. And now you'll see right now I merged it in. All right, what does that mean? That means on my deployment, this should kick off one more time automatically. I'll just reload it. You gonna are you doing it? It should. It should be rerunning. Did it just do it? Was that 2 minutes ago? Was that that? Yeah, oh, it did it. Ha, it's done already. Okay, I was that was fast. So merge pull request. So that's the one. So now if I go, is this it? Yeah, this is it, potluck heaven. Now if I reload that, I'm going to have my events, right? So I'm going to click on sign in. I'm going to click over here. I'm going to click over here. I'm going to sign in, sign in, sign in. All right, don't need that. I go to my events. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Network. My meals, my events. See that? Who can help me out? Why doesn't this work? Why can I not get my events from my backend? It's 404 not found here. Or just put a thumbs down if you're not sure. Anybody have any ideas? Mhm. So, okay, here's why. I haven't deployed my backend yet. I've only deployed my front end. So it's trying to get from like, it's trying to get it from like here slash undefined slash event. But that's not where my backend is. Okay? Because I don't have a backend yet. My backend is on my computer. I haven't deployed it yet. So I'm going to deploy it to the world. So ready? Thumbs up if you're ready to deploy backend. Backend deploy. Let's look at that over here. We're going to deploy backend, but it's going to be on render because Netify doesn't have a backend deployment. Now you may have trouble signing up for render. I think it asks you for a card, like a sorry, like a credit card, excuse me, or a debit card. So use one just like AWS does. You could also deploy it on AWS. We like we did on in one of the labs. Okay. Um, and um, so you can deploy it on a number of different things, but these are the simple ways, the most kind of user-friendly ways to do it. All right, you ready? Okay. Um, Give me a thumbs up if you are able to get an account on Render. Uh, Ty, did you have to supply a credit card or a debit card or something, or was it? I don't know. You got it? Okay. Did you have to do a credit card or debit card, or was it free? Oh, good. They didn't card you. Great. Yeah. So, okay. Good, good, good. Okay. Good to hear. All right. Super, super, super. This is great. So, this is a little confusing because render is a bit more powerful. Um, wow. Okay. So if you want to, you could actually, okay, yeah. If you want to, you don't have to use Netify. You can actually deploy a static site, and deploying a static site would be just the same thing, and that would be the front end. So you could deploy the front end and render. I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy a web service. I'm going to deploy two web services. One is the backend and one is the uh the microservice. So let's do the backend first. So web service is what we need. Web service, and it's going to be the same. Look at that. And render seems to be they seem to have a nicer interface to me. They may have more funding. Netify is an older brand, and they're not. I don't know. Just seems like renders a nicer experience. All right, and you could create a project. I'm not going to. Node is what I want. It detected that. So, but if you learn Python, you could deploy a Python. Okay. Yeah. And then main. There's more than one branch, but I'm gonna do a main. And kind of cool. You can deploy in whatever region you want. I guess I'm closer to Oregon. There and why Oregon? Because Oregon has like hydropower. I think that's the reason. So they have cheap electricity over there. So it's wherever there's cheap electricity. I think West, like Northern Virginia has some hydropower. Anyway. All right. Root directory. What do I put here? Any ideas? What do I put here for root directory? What do I do for that? This is our pop quiz. Remember we did front end for root directory last time? Any guess on this one? Backend. Yep, backend or microservice. So I'm going to do backend first. So backend, and in the build command, okay, yarn. Yarn is kind of a newer version of npm. There's a whole bunch of npm alternatives these days. My favorite is bun actually, bun. But there's Dino, there's yarn, there's like pnpm, there's all sorts. But we're using npm. So npm install. Oh, I don't have to do this thing because they actually have two commands. So this is the build command and this is the start command. So install, I can just do but I would just do install. Okay, npm install and npm run start. I could also do npm, or sorry, I could also do node index.js, right? Thumbs up if you see both are the same. Index.js and npm run start. Those are the same, right? I set it up to do it this way, so I'm going to do it this way. So you want a screenshot? Go ahead, screenshot. I think that's everything you need. So this backend. Okay, so if you're done screenshotting, yeah, it's just preference. If you didn't set up run start, you can just do node index.js. It means the same thing because why does it mean the same thing? Because go to my backend, I set that up myself. It's just a convenience. npm start, actually what it does, it just runs node index. That's what it does. That's what these scripts are. So that's what I'm running. Right. So I'm going to do it with npm run start. Okay, I think I'm good. Um, it defaults to $7 a month. I guess it's free. You're in the free tier, so yeah. Now this is kind of annoying because it will spin down. So your first request might fail, and maybe your first two requests might fail. So that's going to be kind of annoying. It needs to warm up. Literally, it needs to start up the computer in the cloud. It needs to start it up. It needs to start up the instance, what we say, instances. And these are probably running on AWS behind the scenes. But thumbs up if you agree with me, this is a lot easier than AWS. So, but behind the scenes, they're probably running AWS, and they're paying for that. That's why the free version it has to spin down. So it's probably an EC2 instance. Thumbs up if you remember EC2. This is probably I don't know for a fact, but it's probably an EC2 instance. Um a Lambda instance, right? But most likely it's some kind of EC2 instance. I would guess. And you're sharing it with other people, obviously, if it's 0.01 CPU. But usually, like look at this, the Pro Ultra is 450 a month, so this can get quite expensive. This is when about here, maybe like Pro Plus or Pro Max, you're going to be thinking, yeah, that AWS looks good. I don't know if I want to be paying that much for 4 CPUs. So you can go back to AWS and you can see what their prices are, which is quite a bit less. But it's nice to get started with this one. All right, let's do environment variables. So the environment variable here, remember that was the API key for my microservice. Oh, that's the front end. Oops. Backend. Yeah, it gets confusing. I got to close these. Okay. Backend, environment variables. Oh, I need these. So I actually need my Supabase keys and my microservice keys. And I didn't talk about the secret, the Supabase secret. If you can use that if you want to be an admin. So, um, but you could just use the anon key or the publish default key. All right, but we do need the microservice API key, don't we? So I'm going to copy those. Oh, come on. Can I paste them? Yeah, yeah. You see, this is much better than Netify. This one, I just paste them and they automatically pop it in. Look at that. Do you see that? Okay. All right. I want to look at advanced. I don't think I need anything. So, I won't talk about the secret key. It's probably better to put some of these secrets into this secret key, but I think we'll be fine here. Used to be we just used environment variables, but there's a little more security probably. No, oh no, these do need to be. I'm not sure. So anyway, we'll just use environment variables, and let's deploy. Boom. Oh, come on. Oh, oops, 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 oops. I told you to copy. I forgot. What? How'd that go away? I had that in there. No, I had that in there. What? How that? I don't know. I must have deleted that. It didn't. Okay, let's do it. Okay, deploy. And it is building. That's the npm install. That's installing, Express and so forth. I want to look at the logs. Build logs. Oh, here they are. Uh, here we go. Using Node, npm install. This looks familiar. Thumbs up if that's familiar. This is just what's on your terminal. So it's doing just what was on the terminal. It's not colorful, but right? Added 108 packages and so forth. All right, I guess we're done. Are we done? Yeah, there we go. Build successful. Okay, and now we can go to the application logs. And the application logs, oh, look at that. Does that look familiar? That should look familiar. That's just what runs on our server, on our NP on our terminal, right? So like this is a terminal in the cloud. So this is running on some server in Oregon and still going. And this is what I need over here, okay? Oh, I should have named it something different. I'll name the microservice something different. So what I have to, okay. Oh, hopefully it's working. Let's see. App start in port 30. Did it find it? Something wrong with it. All right. Uh, we may take a break in a second, but let's test it with um with Postman. Remember we test our backend with Postman? So oops. Let's oh, sorry. Let me oops, that's not it. Mhm. Okay, copy that and there we go. So send that. I don't need a token or anything. See if that works. Hello world. All right. And then we would do something like slash events or something, I guess. So that should work. Um, shall we take a little break and then I'll show you how to connect the front end and the back end. How about that? So thumbs up if you want to take a break here. Is that going to work? Internal server error. I think events wants me to have. Oh yeah, it wants me to have the JWT. Right. So I'll let y'all take a break here. And then when we come back, I'm going to make sure the back end is connected to the front end. Okay. It's not connected yet. So there's a few little steps here. So I'm going to pause the recording. Pause recording. Okay, hello, we're back. Can everybody hear me? And oh, we got to share my screen. Thumbs up if everything's okay for you all. Can see me and all that. And just wanted to find out what I had here. So I wanted to test this, right? So this, and you can all test this as well. You can just visit this and you should see a hello world. So go ahead, click there. Give me a thumbs up if you see a hello world on that. And why should you see a hello world? Because if you go to my backend, you go to my index.js, you see that, and that's my hello world, right? All right. Then if you go to my events, what's that? It's a roots events. You see that's there. Notice that I require authorization on that event. Okay. So you'll see when I do my, shoot, here. When I go to slash events, what do I get? I get an error. I should handle that error. No authorizations applied, something like that. Um, you can actually see my error over here. If I get rid of that token, get rid of it's no auth, right? If I don't have any auth, you'll see, yeah, unauthorized, right? So that's kind of expected. Okay. So let's go And let's go back to the front end. So the front end is supposed to connect to the back end. Agree? Oh, it's still getting, oh great, it's getting my meals. That's working. Um, so the my meals goes directly to Supabase, but the my events, remember, it's not getting there. You have to do something a little bit tricky. Okay, so let's go back to the front end. So on the front end, I have something, I have my events page, okay? And in my events page, I fetch. You see that? Um, you may have something like this. Does anybody have this on their front end? If you have that on your front end, you have to change it. And what do you have to change it to? You have to change it to, yeah, the URL, the fetch URL. So it could be like const URL equals something like that. Oops, something like this, right? Is that what you have? Uh-huh. So you have to change that. Because why do you have to change it? You have to change that to this, because this is the deployed one. You see that? This is the back end in the cloud that we were talking about. So now it's got to be like, it's got to be not this. It's got to be this. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, but this is really annoying because sometimes, sometimes you want to have the local and sometimes you're going to have the deploy, right? You see how that's annoying? It's going to mess everything up. All right. Well, here's the fix. You're going to use a, what's that? A, an environment variable. So I'm going to put this, both of these into the environment variables. Okay. You ready? Little local. I'm going to go to here and I made I'm going to put this here. So when it's on my machine, I'm going to use this environment variable. When it's remote, I'm going to use this environment variable. Does that make sense? This env is not code. It's like a configuration, right? So let me um, let me go back to my events. So how would we do that? First of all, I need to import in Vite. Yeah, okay, yeah. In Vite, it's import.meta.env. It's a little crazy. Right, base URL. And then instead of either of these, oops, instead of either of these, I'm going to use backticks. Okay. And then when the environment variable is set to local, it will use the local. And when it's environment variable is set to the production remote, it will use the production remote. Okay, any questions about that? Do you see how that's working? Let me know if that makes sense. Okay, kind of tricky, right? So I can test that right here. So I can even test it before I deploy. So I can just change that. And so now I'm going to be using the one on the full stack one. I'm going to be using the deployed one. So if I go to npm, if I just do npm run dev for my front end, my local sign in, test it out, and my events, and here they are. I should this doesn't have those updates from yesterday. They make it look nicer. Okay, where's this coming from? You see, this is my Vite running locally. Remember, they're independent projects. But look, events is coming not from local, it's coming from the remote. So I can kind of test it out this way. Okay. All right. So let's do a git push. Git add. I just I just fixed this up here. That's all I did. And git push. And so how do I tell it? I got to go back to the front end here. You see that? So I got to go back to the front end and go to deploys. Let me see. Is it? I don't know where it is. Oh, configuration. No, project configuration and environment variables. Okay. Remember I had those two? I got to add one more. Where is it? Add a variable, add a single variable, and this is like Vite backend URL. Okay. And use that. Just like I'm doing, and that will make it so that this will use the correct URL. So that's just a little trick. And I'm going to use that. So I'm going to switch this back. So when I'm doing development, I'm using my local one. And this is just for the remote. Okay, so I'm adding a variable and to create the variable. And now I have 1, 2, 3, feedback in URL, feedback in URL. Yeah, that's correct. And um, I'm going to trigger a deploy again. So sometimes I need to trigger a deploy just to make sure that works. And just deploy. Okay. And probably take 20 seconds again. Oh, 13 seconds. That was quick. Okay, and now let's see. And now I'm on my deploy, and now I'm going to go to my meals and my events. Uh, what's wrong? Oh no, didn't do it. Did I reload? Oh yeah, I probably had to reload. Okay, so sign in. Do 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 do, and my events, and here they are. Okay. So does that make sense how to connect them all? I head over here. So so if we do like something like this, this would be localhost uh Vite Vite or something. Something like that. Or oh, five. It's something like that. V. Oh no, Vite. Is that it? This will be like localhost 3000, and this will be local localhost 3001. Okay. Up here, these are going to be on the actual servers. Okay. So um, deploying the microservice is the same idea. I'll show you that. Okay. Render.com. I'm going to deploy the microservice. I'll go through this a little bit quicker. So I'm going to just deploy a new microservice. Got to be a web service. And it's the same repo. It's also Node. It's also on main, but the root directory is microservice. And it's going to be npm install and npm run start. Okay, and free. So you can go ahead and take a screenshot of that for the microservice. All right. And that's the free version. And that one, I also need a environment variable. So the environment variable is my, oh, I need two things. I don't need the port because it will automatically supply the port. But I need the key and I need my key. So that's going to be my key and deploy web service. And I'm just going to, oh, shoot. You know what? I want to change the name. So let's see. Go to settings and I'm just going to call it, edit that. I'm just going to call it micro, my, microservice. Save changes so that I can have a better name. And let's go back. Let's just do another deploy. Manual deploy. Okay, I'll just wait. Um, Logs, is it done? So it started on the port. It should be deployed. Let's reload this page. It's available. Okay, so I changed the name, but I want to, let's see, is that, no, I changed the name. So it's going to be microservice. Okay, and not found, but that's okay. Um, so what I do, I should probably test this on my Postman, but because and I'm gonna do this because I already have it set up. I have my collections. I got my microservice demo, and I can just um, Weather. Yeah, weather for date, right? Okay. So I'm going to save as, I'm going to say, get northern weather on render. Oh, Microservice. And I would change this to this. And let's see if it is it. Mm, mm, Why isn't it working? Or is that the old one? I have I have too many in here. This is the one. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let me just change that. So I'll change that. That one, let me test it. This one. I think this is the one. Uh, Not found. Hmm. Well, we'll see if it works on the. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Let me redeploy because I changed the name. Let me try again. I changed the name right in the middle. And latest deploy. We'll see. While I'm doing that, I'm going to set up the backend. So remember the backend, we got to do the exact same thing. So the backend communicates with the microservice. Go to environment variable. What I need to do is I need to have like a microservice URL. And the microservice URL is on, when I'm testing it, it's going to be localhost, I guess, 3001 for me. And when I'm deploying it, it's going to be this. Okay, so again, I got to fix that up. Roots, events, same deal. Where's my URL? Oh, it's in get weather. Okay, so in get weather, there. Okay, so I need const. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna change that. So const base URL equals microservice URL. And I'll also change this base URL. Okay. So when I'm testing it, this is going to be HTTP colon slash local host 3001. Oh, no, no. Sorry. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. And then when I'm running it, it's going to be on my deploy, which is going to be, oh, I got too many things open. It's going to be this. Okay. So does that make sense? This is going to fill that out. So I'm going to get status, get add, um, did something there. I'm not sure what. Get push. Okay, so now my backend knows where to connect to my, oh, yeah, I think that should work. Not quite yet. I need to copy this. So I'm going to keep this one, and I'll give this to my backend. So let's see. This, ah, it didn't change the, did I actually change this, or is this still, maybe that's why it's not working. Oh well, sorry about that. Let me, maybe that is one. Ah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't change the name. So anyway, this is going to be my, it's just, I forgot to update that. Should be able to update that. I'm just having a little trouble. I don't want to waste too much time. So this is the -1 is the microservice. So I'm just gonna put it as -1 for now. All right. So what I have to do now is I have to head over back to, that's Netlify. I have to go back to render. I have that one open. Render.com. Get back over here, my dashboard, and get to my projects. And I have to go to my, where is the, yeah. So this was my back end. And I have to go to settings and environment. So what I need for this one is I need to add new variable. And this is going to be, and what did I call it? Microservice URL. Okay, so microservice URL. So it gets the microservice URL, which was that, which I just deployed. So, oh, good. Save, rebuild, and deploy. There we go. That's what I wanted. And then now I'm finished. All right. A little longer than 15 minutes. I guess it took about half hour to do that. But going back over here, the front end needs to know where the back end is. The back end needs to know where the microservice is. So we need to give that as a variable. All right. Okay, so that's how to deploy. And if you have trouble with it, I can help you with it. Um, so we've made it through, and we can kind of test it. Unfortunately, I don't have the weather going into this just quite yet. We can't actually see it, but it's still working. Okay, let me pause the recording, and I'll let you try to get to work. If you want to try to deploy it, you can do that at another day. And if you don't deploy before the demonstration, that's okay. Before Thursday, you could try to deploy. Um, just make sure you get it working on your local machine first, but eventually you should get it deployed. All right, so pause recording. You deploy the front end, good. So then the back end, and then you have to update the front end to know that it's going to the back end. There are some tricky things in there. But it's good to deploy because you get a sense of like the architecture. You really understand how things connect. Like this is backend URL. All right, this is like meet backend URL. Right there. And this is Microservice. And it is a lot trickier when you deploy because when you deploy, debugging is a lot slower. It takes like 20 seconds to deploy, and you gotta push and all that stuff. So it is tricky. But use Postman to test the microservice and to test the backend to make sure that's working, and then feedback this. Oh yeah. So where's the environment? Oh yeah, here's the environment. So in the environment, what you want to have, you're going to have different environments, right? I could probably .env. This guy, this one would go here. This one, and this one go with him. Make it a little smaller. So that goes. Okay. So each environment has to have, so this environment has to have this one's URL. And this guy's environment, he has to have this one's URL. Okay. Okay. I will pause the recording and let you get to work, and then I'll meet some of you if you need to do some. If you want to show me something, just let me know. Pause recording.